Ahoy! I'm Captain Happy, and this is a video about the recent changes seen in the new anniversary patch for Warhammer 40k Darktide. Or, the first half of it, supposedly? I mean, I'm not about to judge a promise of more stuff. Either way, woo! Yay! Happy birthday, Darktide! They added and changed a good few things this patch, so let's just dive in and take a close look at a few of the notes in particular. There's a new map, the capstone of this update. Mercantile HL 7004510. What? The Carnival. It's called the Carnival. Just call it the Carnival. It's a raid style map that, like the others, feels somewhat heisty. This one, however, starts the level off hot with a forced continuous horde interaction. It's actually a pretty well designed level, so I'll leave the rest of it to your discovery. What I will say though, is the writing in this new mission is a lot better, with voice lines that are actually funny and developing of character. The new music is also a real treat for them to have not mentioned in the patch notes. The other main feature of the update is the veteran talent tree changes. They now have a fully fleshed out tree with keystones added at the bottom. Some of the previous talents were moved about and changed in effectiveness, including a 50% hit to duty and honor. I am not quite sure why these changes are happening now and why the veteran tree effectively wasn't finished until just now. The only explanations that cross my mind are either they were really lazy or maybe that something was wrong with it all before that point. Well, that doesn't explain the talents being changed and moved to different places. If anything, that's evidence of a lack of idea of what to do with the veteran. Perhaps because they thought the veteran didn't need the extra help? Maybe veteran players are too basic and thus we needed a talent tree that reflects our simple nature? Jokes aside, it seems like there was at least more thought put into the tree now than before, with each of the thirds feeling nicely distinct. The veteran, unlike some of the other characters, has full free range of their talent choices. Nothing gets locked off. If you have the points, you can get it. I'd like to see this kind of freedom afforded to the other characters in the future. Next we have some UX changes, which you know is what I live for. The mission select screen got a little beautification, with each of the difficulties being color-coded to give less observant players a better distinction of what's hard or easy. As if reading isn't a strong suit for gamers. The penance menu got a real nice facelift in this patch, which surprisingly is nowhere to be found in the notes. Upon looking nicer, the menu now doesn't sort your penances between completed and in progress. This is both good and bad. While the listing is now static and ultimately easier to sift through, it is visually unappealing. Maybe it's the color choices? They also fixed some of the penances that became broken in patch 13, though sadly no changes to the one I want. They also removed two of the penances about what they referred to as flash missions. No idea what those were, but my mind always had a good time trying to conceptualize what it could possibly be. A little sad we won't get to see it, as a differing mission style would shake up the game in a much needed way, as the experience is a little stagnant even with the new map. Maybe soon they could release some new mission modifiers or a mode akin to deep diving from Deep Rock Galactic, in which players go on a few missions in sequence, dwindling resources as they press on. Anyways, I'm getting off track. The patch also features a buff icon grouping setting that finally separates the different status effects that can be on a player to be a little more aesthetically pleasing to look at and effective at conveying the info it's trying to. This is a big step in the right direction despite how small it may seem. User experience is everything, and right here is a change that makes experiencing your status effects more clear. We need more of this. Speaking of the clarity of conveyance toward the player, they added a nice feature that allows you to inspect other players both in the Mourningstar and pregame, showing you their equipment and talent build. This is a very handy feature, and a much needed addition for the lobby to become more complete and less vapid. But the lobby still suffers from issues that make this a hollow victory, though I suppose that's a video for another day. This new feature helps players to judge one another with more scrutiny and really know when an ally is going to be useful or not. Of course, I jest, but you understand the downside to this, right? Moving on, they've continued to nerf the Assail Psyker, as its power level when compared to the other ability choices has been a hoot and a half. The ability has a reputation now over its short lifespan of being extremely multi-useful and powerful, popping the heads of entire hordes without much of a cost or downtime to the caster. Everyone knew it was getting nerfs. and it has now been lowered in power 2 patches in a row, with first its base damage going down by 20% and now a 50% increase in cooldown. This means that it will now take longer for the Assail ammo to recharge, and players can no longer rely on it as a primary weapon. I personally think that this update brings it in line with what Smite can offer, power to utility comparatively, but that still leaves Brainburst in the dust a bit with a super long charge time and lack of defining power level. But we'll see what comes in the future. On the topic of big class changes, the Zealot holy symbol has been changed yet again, almost like the developers have no idea what they really want out of it. A shame, really. See, the ability sends out 7 pulses, still something the ability description fails to mention, of which each pulse pushes enemies back and suppresses them. The pulses got changed so that they can only affect boss monsters on the first and last pulse, and now it's changed to only affect them on every second pulse. Is the thing supposed to make me feel like a paladin wielding the mighty voice of the Emperor or not? Am I supposed to be able to make a safe zone around me for 5 seconds or not? Please, Fat Shark, decide what this ability is supposed to do. But I suppose I should save this rant for a video specifically about it, if they don't change anything. Now onto the truly important changes. The ones we've needed for a while, but didn't quite know we needed. Well, some of us knew. A bunch of the hats for Psyker and Veteran got fixed to now show hair and eyebrows. Though, sadly not all of them. I guess beards matter less than eyebrows. And finally, the VO fixes, which got their own section in the patch notes. They've added a bunch of new bonding conversations, which is always good to see given how repetitive and tasteless the voice lines were on Darktide's launch. They also reduced the frequency of the most common bonding conversations. Thank fuck, because I don't know how many more times I could hear about, "There are no ambushes yet, sir!" As funny as it is. They also did another good thing and made the Assail Psyker at least 20% less edgy and annoying. But at the same time, they reduced the frequency of mission givers nagging during data interrogator events. The fuck? They nerfed Hadron! They reduced her sass, and I'm not okay with this. I want Robo-Grandma to berate me and call me stupid.
Planets, take magic box from pocket. Point it at things until it green. You do that, can't you?
Anyways, that pretty well sums up the major changes they made in the new anniversary update. Thanks for listening, and let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Cheers!